Isn't it amazing how Carlos Alcaraz hits those drop shots during his matches? Now it comes down to 4 essential parts. Step 1, the ball prior to the drop shot. Now we must make sure that we're making space, and the way we do that is by sending a deep loopy ball into the back of the court. And this is something that Carlos Alcaraz does incredibly well because he's got huge amounts of topspin with his semi-western forehand grip. That loopy ball needs to be bouncing close to the baseline with lots of topspin coming from a height, and that's going to push your opponent back behind the baseline. Therefore, you're going to have lots of space made in the short court. Once you've hit that deep aggressive shot, the likelihood is that you're going to get a short ball return. And that's the ball you need next. Okay, step 2, the return ball. If you've got the right ball, which is nice and short, an easy ball, this is your opportunity to come in and take the high risk shot, the drop shot. Alcaraz is tuned in to see that ball, and when he sees it, he comes in and he takes the ball early. By taking that ball early, you're taking the time away from your opponent on the recovery. So if they're positioned right back behind the baseline, don't give them time to get back into a suitable position to defend. Okay, so we've thrown in that loopy ball deep into the back of the court to make space. We've come in and we've taken the second ball nice and early. Step 3 is technique. We need to disguise the drop shots. So your opponent doesn't know it's a drop shot. They won't be stepping in and running for the drop shot before you've even hit it. When we're talking about disguise, it's a lot more difficult on the forehand compared to the backhand, and that's due to the grip change. On that forehand, we have a semi-western forehand grip, and this is not the grip that we want to play with for a drop shot. In fact, we want to use the chopper grip. So we need to have a grip change, but we're going to do that grip change as late as possible so we can disguise it from our opponents. If we're in that forehand grip, we can take that index finger, roll it up, and then push it down and change our grip at the same time. And we're going to do this within the drop shot. So here we go. Take my racket nice and high in that take back. I take my index finger up and change the grip, and you'll see I've finished in that chopper grip. Forehand grip, chopper grip. So start in forehand grip, roll that finger up the grip and then drop it down, and then I've finished in that chopper grip, which is the grip that we need for the drop shot. It's really important when you have your take back on your forehand that you have a high take back. If your racket isn't up high, you won't be able to disguise that chop down. Now, if you're in a chopper grip for the forehand, you're going to have a low take back. If you're in a Eastern forehand, the forehand take back will be a little bit higher. It's only until you're in a semi-Western forehand grip with that really high take back, which is above head height, or maybe your hands in line with your shoulder, are you then able to disguise the drop shot perfectly. Instead of coming round and up, you're going to be taking it down. This is the reason why drop shots haven't been very common in the last 10-20 years. We just haven't had the right grip. Ever since the forehand changed from being a chopper grip forehand into an Eastern forehand grip like Roger Federer, that was a 20-30 year phase of the game. Now we're in that semi-Western forehand, the modern forehand grip. That high take back allows us to disguise that forehand drop shot a lot easier. It's much easier to hit a drop shot using your backhand. First off is that racket path on the forehand has nowhere to go. It jams into the body, and then we lose a lot of side spin potential and backspin potential. Compare that to the backhand drop shot, where that racket has that ability to come across the body. This is a much more comfortable motion and allows us to put a lot more spin on the drop shot, which is what we need. Second reason why the drop shot is much easier on the backhand is because of the grip. We are already in a chopper grip with the slice, and the only difference to hitting deep or short is the racket path. So on the slice, I would go forwards, and on the drop shot, I will go down. Okay, so when I'm about to do a drop shot, I'm going to be in the same position regardless of how deep I want to hit the shot. but I'm just going to come down on the ball. So when you're thinking about adding drop shots to your game, consider only drop shotting using your backhand, unless of course you are as talented as Alcaraz and maybe you've designed your forehand around incorporating the forehand drop shot into your game. Step 4, what do you do after the drop shot? If you've done a bad drop shot and that your opponent is hitting the ball above the height of the net, stay back and defend. Okay, but if you've done a good drop shot and your opponent is hitting the ball below the height of the net, then that's an opportunity to come into the net and finish the point off, because your opponent has only a few options left to them once they're hitting that ball below the height of the net. They have to hit the ball up, which means that it's likely to be a drop shot or a lob, or they might push it into one of the corners, at which point if you close into the net, you're going to be closing off the angles so they won't be able to get around you. You're taking the drop shot out of the equation and you're leaving them with really only a difficult lob. And if it's a good drop shot, the lob is can be quite rewarding because you'll be able to smash and finish the point easily. So the drop shot is a great tactic if done properly, but generally speaking it is a losing tactic because most of the time it's done without setting up the point properly, and maybe too often as well. I would recommend that you look to drop shot no more than 2 or 3 times a set. And if you're doing it more than this, then you'd have to have a look at your statistics. And one way to see what your statistics are like is using the Swing Vision app. It's an app on your smartphone which is going to track your matches and tell you exactly how many shots you're getting in. What's particularly useful is the heat map, which you'll be able to see all your drop shots. If you're looking to improve your game, it's imperative to look at your statistics to try and improve your tennis, because it stops us doing the shots that we want to do, and it allows us to understand which shots are winning us games and winning us matches. So for example, in my game, I've noticed that I win a lot of shots on my backhand. I've got a one-handed backhand, and if that ball's at the right height, I've got a lot more power and penetration on that shot compared to any of my other shots. So I'm looking often to set up my backhand with a strong forehand, which is a more versatile shot. I'm able to hit it at different heights more easily. I can move the ball quite well with my forehand and then ultimately get a backhand to set up an approach. A backhand cross-court against a righty into my opponent's weakness, approach the net, volley put away. And this is where you're going to establish patterns of play. So each player is looking to build their game around several patterns that suit their game. These patterns are the ones that you win your games with. Use the Swing Vision app, use the statistics based in that app to discover who you are as a player and then design your game around those stats.